I bloody love Sonic the Hedgehog. I don't know what it is exactly, but there's something about this little spiky speedster that makes me lose my goddamn mind. At its core, Sonic as a concept is absurdly simple and goofy. Here is a blue hedgehog, he can run fast. And yet, despite this most basic premise, I genuinely find it difficult to not enjoy a piece of media revolving around the little fella and his friends. There's an inherent quality to Sonic that just makes him work for me, no matter what. Because even when he's bad, which, let's be honest, if you're in any way a Sonic fan, you'll know that happens far more often than we'd like, he's still kinda good. Sonic Forces, for example, the character's most recent major 3D mainline video game release, received a lot of critical backlash for its short runtime, janky controls, and just overall perceived lack of polish. Which, yeah, fair, but it also had a scene where a red echidna named Knuckles preached about the horrors of global conflict.
None of this is good, Vector. That's why it's called war.
So naturally, I obviously love this. I'm sorry, but that shit's just great. 5 stars from me, no feedback. You can't improve on perfection. Also, small tangent, but while we're on the topic of forces, the edgelord villain's design and theme song in this game was amazing. God, I hope he comes back for future titles. But I digress, where am I going with this? Well, my point is that there's a sincere earnesty to Sonic as a character, and this is what he thrives in. The video game mascot started as nothing more than a cool character design to pilot a speedy action platformer and act as a kind of too cool for school rival to Nintendo's Mario, but has somehow evolved into everything from a meta commentary on its own franchise tropes like we see in the Sonic Boom TV series, to a goofy as hell multi-layered space soap opera with plotlines revolving around everything from mistaken identities, evil android clones, tragic backstories, psychics from the future, robots experiencing an existential crisis, animals with guns, alien invasions, and communications with the President of the United States, all the while somehow revolving around a blue hedgehog with snappy one-liners who runs fast. It's all so wonderfully, wonderfully silly, and I adore it. Which brings us to the reason why we're here, the second Sonic movie. Okay, yes, it's technically the third if we're counting the 1996 Sonic OVA, but let's not be that guy. I'm watching your comments section, no one likes a smart ass. So Sonic 2 is the follow-up movie to 2020's surprising runaway success, pun intended, the fun but extremely safe and by-the-numbers cartoon buddy sidekick movie, Sonic the Hedgehog. This film follows the events of that movie with evil scientist Dr. Robotnik exiled to a distant mushroom planet and Sonic settling in on Earth with his new adoptive family, Town Sheriff Tom Wachowski and his wife Maddie. All's well in the small town of Green Hills, named after the famous Green Hill Zone of the Sonic the Hedgehog video games, that is until Robotnik, now sporting a look more in line with the iconic image of the games, uses his genius intellect to escape the mushroom planet and return to Earth. On the way, picking up an ally in the form of the powerful and mysterious anthropomorphic echidna known as Knuckles. Knuckles is searching for the Master Emerald, a large green gem capable of unthinkable power, something that his villainous human ally Robotnik finds to be quite an appealing prospect. And it's up to Sonic, as well as his newfound friend, a fox inventor nicknamed Tails, to find the location of this gem before Knuckles, and even worse, Robotnik, get their hands on it. What follows is a fun adventure that feels kind of like a loose adaptation of Sonic 3, and I suppose a little bit of Sonic 2 with the introduction of Tails, with bouncy character dynamics, quippy one-liners, and bombastic fight scenes that, in my opinion, absolutely breezes by in a smooth 2 hours, which, despite being hampered by some of its subplots, still manages to provide an enjoyable ride for your casual cinema goer and has the potential to be an absolute blast for anyone with an investment in these characters and this franchise. See, I gave a lot of preamble going into this review about Sonic as a concept and what he means to me, but the reason for that is, I think it's wholly important to my perspective. Firstly, so you know to take my opinion with a grain of salt, I'll say it again straight up, it is genuinely hard for me to dislike anything Sonic. All reviews are subjective opinions coloured by the biased worldview and experience of the person giving you them, but this one is particularly biased. I really loved the last Sonic movie, but I'm under no illusion that had it not been for the Sonic in the title, and it was just another one of the many live-action white dude learns to love wacky cartoon sidekick movies featuring literally anyone but him, I probably wouldn't have even bothered to see it, never mind had any strong adoration for it. And secondly, I want to articulate exactly why I think Sonic 2 works so well for me, and why I think it will work so well for others, in that it specifically seems to get why people, much like myself, adore Sonic. As I said before, the key to Sonic's charm, at least for me anyway, is the earnesty with which it is presented. No matter how ludicrous the scenario is, Sonic's best remembered and most loved game plots have always treated them with the utmost importance. It doesn't matter that the main character is a quip-spouting, speedy garden mammal. When there are world-ending stakes at play, they will be given all the gravity that such stakes would call for. And sure, cheesy one-liners and too cool for school attitude will break the tension from time to time, but never in a way where these plots stop and wink at the camera as if to say, don't worry, we know this is silly, we're in on the joke. I mean, Sega put out Shadow the Hedgehog, a game that opens with this image of a grouchy hedgehog cocking a gun, which, if that wasn't silly enough, you might also notice that is an SMG and does not need to be cocked. It is not a shotgun. He's literally just wanking the barrel at this point. And this game asks you to take it completely at face value, the whole game. Nothing about this is being done ironically. This is all completely serious. I love it. You see, it's easy to care about Sonic no matter how absurd things get, because the narratives he and his supporting cast often find themselves in also care deeply about them. It's easy to buy into the ludicrous stakes when the characters are treated with the utmost respect imaginable. The Sonic 2 movie also does this. Now don't get me wrong, it comes nowhere near reaching the level of the melodrama of titles that defined the modern understanding of the character like Adventure 2, Shadow the Hedgehog or Sonic 06, and it's certainly a lot more focused on creating comedy to add levity to the scenarios throughout its runtime, most of which lands with a surprisingly effective level of humour. But even when you consider this, it still treats the characters with the same degree of awe and importance they had to a 10-year-old me sat in front of his GameCube thinking that the introduction of Shadow the Hedgehog was the single greatest literary achievement since the days of Shakespeare. And it was, by the way. Everything here might be coloured in a degree of cartoon wackiness, especially Jim Carrey's continued excellent gangly-limbed and rubber-faced performance as Robotnik, but elements like the introduction of Knuckles with the famous "Do I look like I need your power" line from the trailer, the fight scenes, the friendship between Sonic and Tails, the quest for the Master Emerald, the climactic third act battle, it's all given a palpable degree of weight and gravitas that never once feels like it's treating these speedy cartoon animals with anything but reverence. It's a delicate balancing act to walk, adding enough goofy cartoon humour to appease the tick boxes a studio wants to hit for cartoon sidekick kids movie, but not including stuff so condescending or overplaying it so much that it undermines the characters that a lot of people are turning up for. But they almost always nail it. Knuckles is a perfect example of this. Idris Elba absolutely kills it in the role, as his gravelly tones and sincere, serious delivery bring a real emphasis to the drama of the character. But on the flip side, he also has some of the movie's biggest laughs, and his comedic timing and delivery are brilliant. All of the main cast actually, that is to say Sonic, Robotnik, Knuckles and Tails, absolutely smash it. Ben Schwartz really understands the chaotic joy of our titular hedgehog. Knuckles and Robotnik, as I've already mentioned, both rule, and Colleen O'Shaughnessy is so familiar and synonymous with Tails at this point that I can't imagine anyone else in the role. She perfectly captures his intelligence, childlike excitement, curiosity and bubbly demeanour, and she and Schwartz together do wonders in capturing one of gaming's greatest friendships on the big screen. And this is further aided by some truly lovely moments in the script between the two. There's a scene with a blanket that's like a tiny little thing that I don't want to spoil, but oh, it's just so lovely. Also, as an aside, it's really great to see an actual voice actor get the role of Tails and not just a big box office name. Not knocking Schwartz or Elba here, of course, they're both excellent. Just pointing out that it's rare to see someone like Colleen get this kind of treatment with a big blockbuster role, and I'd like to see that happen more. So yeah, I think with all this said, it's pretty clear that I think rather highly of Sonic 2. It does Sonic and Friends the way I wanted to, and on top of that, there is a heap of fun fan service and Easter eggs that isn't so overt and intrusive as to be distracting, but that fans will no doubt have fun spotting. That said, I will say, it is by no means perfect. And when I say that, I mean not even in the way where perfect in this sense means perfect specifically for a Sonic fan on this particular wavelength I've described. When it's a Sonic movie, it's fantastic. So much fun, nails the characters, exactly what I want, no notes. However, the fact that the Sonic stuff is so good often serves to draw attention to the fact that the human stuff is so bad. Besides Robotnik, there isn't a single compelling human character in this whole franchise so far. Sonic's adoptive cop dad and his wife are as milquetoast as ever, and with the exception of Eggman, the cartoonish human characters of bumbling incompetent cops, bridezillas, and frat bro types that surround them are even more unappealing. I guess Eggman's sidekick Agent Stone is okay because those two have kind of a fun dynamic going on, but other than that, these humans are some of the most unlikable, uninteresting, and unappealing characters I've ever had the misfortune of watching. If they aren't boring, they're obnoxious. And not in the fun Jim Carrey way, just in a low-effort Disney Channel original movie kind of way. All two-dimensional and hammy. This wouldn't be a problem if they weren't on screen so often. The film even seems to know at first that they're going to be an issue to the movie's fun factor, choosing to send all of these human characters off to a wedding far from the film's main action very early on in its runtime, which leads you to believe that they're just finding an excuse to get rid of these guys quickly and that you'll barely hear from any of them for the remainder of the film. And honestly, I wouldn't have even been mad at that at all. These guys mostly only exist as an artifact left over from the plot of that first film, which maybe needed them to ground that initial outing in more familiar and less risky territory for the studio. But now that Sonic has proven to be an absolutely huge hit, and any focus on the human characters has proven to be the least popular part of that hit, then sure, get rid of them. Give them a soft write-out where they don't need to show up other than at the beginning and the end. Who cares? They aren't really needed anymore. Unfortunately, that's not the case. And although they aren't so persistent in their appearance as to spoil the movie, there's a segment of the film just past the halfway mark where the narrative completely derails itself to spend a good 15 to 20 minutes on what feels like a dreadful sardoodledom. There's a word for you to Google, can you tell I just learned it? You see, for some inexplicable reason, a fun kids movie about a video game mascot feels the need to suddenly change its focus to this absolutely dreadful wedding drama subplot filled with unfunny jokes, contrived twists, uninteresting visuals, bland shot choices, and worst of all, absolutely nothing even remotely resembling Sonic. I swear to God, if you showed someone this section of the film with no context and asked them to guess what it's from, they would give you a million answers before they'd ever land on Sonic the Hedgehog. You could cut this whole thing out completely and have a much better movie and a far better Sonic movie for it. I genuinely do not know why this is here, so all it seemingly achieves is to artificially inflate the runtime and nothing else. It's not great to begin with, and it goes on way too long. Another real issue I have with this film, and I suppose this criticism is also true of the last movie too, is would it kill them to license some Crush 40 or Sonic music in general? There are so many moments in this film where dropping a recognizable Sonic track would be the absolutely perfect complement to the action on screen. Like, I'm not even particularly a big fan of Crush 40's Sonic Heroes theme, for example. I think it's one of the weakest title themes of Sonic's modern gen, but without spoiling anything, there is a big hero pose moment where if I'd heard those opening chords play over it, I'd have lost my fucking mind. Even just the instrumentals would be a big addition to the film if they're worried about the cheesy butt rock lyrics coming off as dated, but we don't even get that. All we get is a character's phone ringtone going off, and it's a loop of like the first 5 seconds of Green Hill Zone. That's even less than the last film gave us, where they had a very brief piano version of this same song play at the end of the movie. We need more Sonic music, not less. I swear to God, if Sonic 3 doesn't open by blasting Live and Learn at a volume so loud it drowns out all the dialogue, then I don't even know why we're even bothering to have a third film. This might seem like a minor complaint, but I just find it baffling that a film that takes such careful consideration of its source material would just throw away one of the most celebrated aspects of those games, the soundtracks, and replace it with just generic film orchestra. Absolutely baffling creative choice there. I have a couple of other nitpicks. There's a pandering kid-friendly dance scene that well overstays its welcome. I don't really enjoy the whole adoptive dad plotline that runs throughout, and there are a couple of elements that I thought were actually stronger in the trailer that strangely got changed for the final movie, but these are all small potatoes. Minus the wedding subplot, which only serves to give the film an ideal piss break period, I had an absolute blast, and I fully plan on seeing it again, likely several more times. Again, bear in mind that this perspective is coming from a place of warm nostalgia and unbridled adoration for this character, so your mileage may vary. But if you're anything like me at least, I'm almost certain you'll have a fantastic time. Anyway, that's all from me for today. I normally don't do this outro kind of thing on just general film reviews, but I wanted to give you all some context to my recent disappearing act for those who didn't see it on the community post. Basically, I'm very aware that it's been a hot minute since I uploaded. Without going too much into it, it has been a very stressful, very mentally draining, and very busy time for me for a good long while now. I've been going through what can only be described as an unhealthy relationship with work, working multiple jobs and losing almost all my weekends to other work, and it had just left me exhausted and removed me completely from being able to put any focus into the things I cared about. But as of recent developments, I think I've finally been able to make a significant life change, and I'm hoping that's going to put me back on top of things, starting primarily with this channel. I've already had a blast just putting this vid out, and it feels great to finally be uploading again. I've got plans for other vids that I've already started too, and for those of you that are patrons, I'm planning a special Patreon exclusive vid where I pitch a movie I've been writing recently, just to say thank you to you all who've continued to support me through that platform and who have been so patient during my downtime, and that'll be released soon. Anyway, yeah, if all goes well, videos should be more regular on the channel now. I'm trying not to go from one unhealthy instance of toxic productivity into another, so it won't be like every day or week like I have done in the past, but maybe like every month or two. Sometimes it might be a little bit more frequent, just whatever feels healthy at the time. Whatever it ends up being though, it certainly won't be like 5 months of radio silence again. I love this channel, I love talking about this stuff. It might not seem like much, but it's a huge passion for me, and I really want to get into the habit of feeding that passion wherever I can. I just want to be careful not to burn out on it. Anyway, yeah, this is all just to say sorry for the long break, thanks for bearing with me, thank you for watching, for your patience and for all your support, and I'll see you all next video.